build an international sourcing network, and resolve complex operational and supply chain challenges. His extensive international exposure has enabled him to work closely with manufacturers across multiple countries, guiding them to optimize their operations and drive business success. Amit has been instrumental in creating new job opportunities and helping organizations establish skilling roadmap and ensuring a long-term strategic solution for a skilled workforce. His work in skilling initiatives has empowered businesses to build capable teams, enhance workforce productivity, and meet evolving industry demands. A well-traveled individual with a global perspective, Amit has successfully led and guided cross-functional and diversified teams, contributing to organizations' strategic business objectives. Amit is an alumnus of New York University Stern School of Business, London School of Economics and Political Science, and HEC Paris. He holds a commerce degree, diploma in garment technology, and multiple certifications, including textile technologist, business and executive coach, and global supply chain expert. As an adjunct professor at NIFT, a speaker at business schools, and a jury member at NIFT Ahmedabad and Mumbai, he actively contributes to academia and industry.
Hi, good evening. I think today's session is all about how to design modern factories and the factories which are for the next 10 to 12, 10 to 15 years. And these factories are designed in such a way that they can cater to international compliances and also demand for the future expansion and the entire and also the different product categories, be it in home textile or apparel industries, right? Uh, let me take you through the complete what challenges the companies are facing, and when they are designing a new factories, what has happened in the past related to the factories which are not designed really well, and then we will take you through the new modern factories, which how the modern factories are looking like, and what is it that we are doing in terms of establishing and helping our clients to build the modern factories for themselves. So, uh, what is happening is in today's rapid evolving manufacturing landscape, factories designs play a major role in any kind of productivity, efficiency, cost efficiency, and everything. Whether it is home textile or apparel industry, both the industries face unique challenges, and there are fluctuations in demand and obviously need of a flexibility in production, and that is why there's a need for increasing automation, because getting the skilled manpower is really getting tough day by day. And obviously compliances and sustainability and environmental impact of having the establishment is also gaining a lot of importance. A well-planned factory is not just about placing machines and workstations. It's all about optimizing workforce, minimizing the material handling, because material handling plays a major role when you have to crisscross the material instead of actually aligning it in a proper way, and integrating smart automation into the day-to-day functioning of the factory and ensuring worker safety, because safety angle is the important angle that which plays a major role in that. So key challenges in the factory design. The major challenge, why we are talking about why the factory design is important element, and to know the factory design, because there are factories which are designed by people who just start to create a factory on their experience without any expert intervention. And when that happens, majorly what kind of issues in a factory design or the challenges that are faced by the companies. There's an inefficient workflow plays a major role, that material movement and the manpower movement or any kind of a movement in the factory should be seamlessly connected to each other without any major handling issues and additional movement issues. The second one is the space constraint. Like a lot of factories are designed in a very tight space, and obviously over a period of time, what happens when the business goes up, the people keep adding the machines into the factory, and it becomes a kind of a cramped up place. Like you can see in the image, there's hardly any space for the people to move, and obviously there's a safety risk. This incident is about the Rana Plaza, which happened in Bangladesh. So and so many people have died in this accident where the entire working factory has collapsed, and that has led to major concerns by international buyers, asking what kind of a compliances and safety concerns are being addressed at the factory level. And after that, there were lot of tightness on compliances, be it a structure stability, be it related to the fire escapes for the people, or any kind of other concerns which are compromising safety of the people where the goods are being manufactured. Then there is a factory design also lead to high operation costs. A lot of times we end up spending money in a factory which is not justified to the market cost demand. Like if you need to sell something at $1 and your factory cost is really high, you are not able to meet up to the expectation of the customer, and that is why high operational cost leads to a poor design of a factory, which is a mix of a lot of things. There are environmental challenges. How do you treat your water? How do you treat not just the processed water but also the domestic water? What kind of environmental challenges are created because of the factory, be it a waste of any kind, be it domestic waste or material waste or any kind of a waste or rejection which is generated, is also adding up to the environmental challenges. A lot of factories are having a lot of maintenance issues, and the downtime of the machines are more. So you need to ensure that factories which are designed are able to reduce the maintenance to the minimum possible, and also the cost of running the factory, be it people, be it any other cost, has to be ensured that it is under control. So there are definitely government schemes which are there, which when you are setting up a new factory, you can always take an advantage of those government schemes and reduce your initial investment and as well as the running cost. And also by employing, having the factory closer to the people area where it is easy to get the workforce. That also plays an important role in designing a factory. Now, technology is playing a major role in setting up of a new garment or a home textile factory. When we talk about technology, industry 4.0 is what people are talking about. People are talking about information which is available at the click of a button. People should not be waiting for the information to be gathered and collected and then presented. People are talking about real-time information available so that the decisions are made quickly and is available for any kind of challenges that a factory will face in terms of late deliveries because of information not available to them. Right? What is the impact of poorly designed factory? Right? Why is it important that the factory design plays a major role? Because it leads to production inefficiencies. If the factory is not properly designed, it might create a lot of inefficiencies within the systems and processes because the material handling the movement, the going up and down with inefficient ways, it it might create a lot of inefficiencies in the system. Maintenance cost again plays a major role. If you have certain equipments which have high maintenance, even though initial cost is lower, but but the maintenance cost is high over a period of time, it is better to go for a little expensive equipment than to compromise on initial investment and then have a running cost, high running cost. And then a lot of design leads to workplace accidents. It can be people slipping away. It might be related to people falling at places. It can be any kind of a level difference between the factory floors where things are not able to move properly and people fall down because of that. Those kind of element. And increased operational cost. Obviously the cost of running a factory is leading to might lead to higher operational cost. When we talk about operational cost, it's not just about people. It might be energy. Do you have the right energy efficient system in place? Are you using the daylighting? Do you have solar panels in place? uh, do you have the right mechanism where the water and other resources are optimally used? All those kind of things we are talking about over here. We are also talking about like a factory at a current level is fine, but very soon you will find in 1 or 2 years your factory capacity needs to be upgraded. Do you have a plan in place for that? Because when you're designing a factory, you need to have some kind of a bandwidth to expand within that space for 3 to 5 years, because you set up a factory not for today but at least for 3 to 5 years, and then after that you might be able to expand that factory into a new factory or an additional space that can be attached to the existing factory. So scaling is important. Next one, poor ventilation. Since it is when we are talking about garment and home textile factories, these are actually a lot of people work over there, and having a right ventilation system is important. People comfort level leads to better efficiency. If they are not comfortable when they are working, obviously they will have a lower efficiency when in the factory. A lot of factories doesn't have enough of storage space. The storage space is important because when you're designing a factory, storage space might be too tight, uh, or it is not optimally designed at various areas, not just in raw material or finished goods, but within the processes also. You need to identify the places where the bottleneck might happen, and you need to create some spaces over there as well. Lack of fire safety. We spoke about the factory where a lot of people have died in Bangladesh, Rana Plaza. Similarly, fire safety is important because we are talking about cotton polyester material being used, and which has a fire hazard. It needs to be properly taken care such that people are safe. So fire safety is important. You need to have complete fire compliances in place in terms of hose reels, sprinklers, and all those kind of things which are needed to set up a factory. Then we are also talking about uh, a factory design which might have a high energy cost. It is important that when we are considering making a factory, how are you using the daylight in your favor, so that at least you can minimize the the level of lights which are needed in the factory. The high energy cost, maybe the solar panels on the rooftop might be able to help you to reduce your running cost of the factory. The high energy cost is one more element. And obviously, I spoke about slip and fall of the people. The levels of the factory, it should be seamless from one end to the other end, because if you have different levels, then it is difficult to move material and people face challenge. And when we are designing staircases or any other places where the movement is more, we need to ensure that the people should not fall. There is proper provision is being made in terms of non-slippery tiles and other things which are placed over there. Noise pollution is one more issue which leads to poor design of a factory. Now, when we are talking about designing a modern factory, where do we start from? Now, designing a modern factory is first thing what comes to our mind is what is it that I'm going to produce over there, and what is the size of a factory that I should be designing, and how what kind of a product will run over there. What are the processes which are involved in making that factory one of the best factory? So first thing which starts over there is the product mix. You need to have the clarity from the business plan. What is the product mix that is needed to be produced in the factory? Not just the product mix, but the quantity, the capacity of the factory, that is important. Like product wise, rough ratio of the capacity, because if your ratio change, the complete, it might change in terms of product and the machines which are needed for that. Obviously, I'll give you an example. If you're making a trouser factory versus a shirt factory, you would need different set of machines and different number of machines. Similarly, if you're making a comforter versus a bedsheet factory, comforter is a volume product. You might need a different set of not just machine, but the space allocation for that. And for a bedsheet factory is a different set of machines as well as the space allocated for that. The right product mix is important as per your business plan is needed, so that that's the first point to start with. Next point is basically once you have a product mix in place, you need to start putting all the departments which are needed in the factory as a list, kind of a laundry list of all the departments. It can be fabric storage, it can be cutting, it can be finishing, packing, all the departments. And not just that, but also a lot of facilities are needed over there, like a canteen, like a kitchen, like toilets. There's a ratio of toilet which needs to be accounted for when you're designing a factory. So all those kind of things you need to plan in a space planning thing. And once you start putting a space planning thing, a lot of things will come in place for that. Like what are the key departments that production department that are needed over there? So as per the product routing, you would need to identify that these are the departments that would be needed, and this is the WIP in each department that I need to hold for half a day, one day, whatever is needed over there. That is also a part of planning, that each key department space is properly identified. And then after that, when you're talking about packaging and trim calculation, again, it is important. A lot of people miss out on this. See, packaging and trims are important element of any garment in a home textile factory. And people not just plan it, like forget to plan it in the right way. They don't give enough of space, thinking, I don't need so much of space for that. But actually, when you see the number of SKUs, a number of items which go in one particular SKU to pack it, it is huge. It may vary from 10 to 20 numbers of items. It can be carton, stiffener, polybag, inlays. It can be labels, thread, buttons, any kind of, all these we are talking about, each of them will take some space. And the space calculation, and then after that, space calculation, both are important, right? Then after that, what is the inventory that you're going to hold in the factory in terms of finished goods, in terms of your raw material? You need to actually calculate that, because until you have a clarity, okay, I need to have a stock of 7 days in finished goods, 10 days in finished goods, or 21 days in finished goods. Now what happens, people think 10 days are more than enough, but practically what we have seen in last 25 years of experience, there is definitely 10 days is not enough, because especially when you're doing an international business, you have rollout planned for customers, and rollout needs to store material for few days, 10, 15, 20 days before it is dispatched in one go. And then you might have 5, 10 containers going at one shot. You need to have space to store those kind of a peak season demand. If mostly what we have seen, people have lack of space during that time, and you will witness that the finished goods is normally stored not just in the warehouse, but at this particular time it comes to the production floor also, and there is no space for the movement. It is important that we are planning it well, because we are talking about international compliances. And if your finished goods are being stored in the production hall, then you might be facing a problem in terms of compliances. So right, finished goods inventory calculation, how many pallet storage is needed, how much, what you can do for that. And then obviously the storage type, what kind of a storage type is needed. Do I go a ground storage? Do I put a vertical storage? How high I can go as per the compliance of my factory? And is it optimized in a right way? Do I have enough space for the storage? When we calculate in terms of number of rows needs to be stored, number of trims needs to be stored, and number of finished goods pallets needs to be stored. And then we realize that we need to either go higher in the warehouse, or we need more space on a ground storage space. And eventually we end up investing maybe in a wrong equipment which may not suffice with the current requirement of the factory. So the designing of the factory warehousing is also equally important when you are designing a production facility, right? So storage type is important, and there are different types of storage which we will be talking in few slides from now. Next one, when you have all that information in place, in terms of space requirement, in terms of warehousing requirement, number of days inventory, and how many pieces to be produced, what kind of a lines are needed, what product you need to be producing, how many machines are needed in each line, what kind of a cutting capacity do you need. Well, once you have all the calculations in place, then you work out, okay, this is the size of a factory that I need to do. There are two ways to do it. Either you decide the capacity and then accordingly size your factory, or if you have a factory space available, then you decide the capacity what can fit into that kind of a factory. Both ways you can work on, and we normally do both ways, back and forth, so that we are optimally use the space what is available with us. But the factory design is the most important, crucial part of any factory, and it takes time. It takes really good time to plan each and every department, the space required between the each equipment or a machine, the movement space, the main space, the aisle space, the walking space, the warehousing, material movement, each and everything that has to be taken care in a right way. And this is something which needs to be taken care of. Otherwise, what happens, we start with setting a line, but we don't plan all the other things which are needed over there. And if we also plan, we end up understanding that we didn't plan enough of space for that particular department, and that's why we are facing problem. Or maybe we forgot to even plan for a particular section or a department which was needed as per the factory compliances, and maybe the for the production. All those kind of a surprises we always get from the customers, and customers keep our client keep coming back to us. Amit, I was supposed to do this, but I forgot to do it. Can you help me out in this? These are the kind of the questions that I keep getting from my clients. And then we start working with them on improving the current layout which has been running in the factory. And believe me that once we enter in the same space, we are able to create 20-30% more space in terms of more production that we are able to get out of the planned space. Our expertise has been into that. That is why we are able to do it. And the typical factory layout may look like this, but it totally depends on whether you have multi-level factory or a single level factory. And both are equally good. It depends on how are you taking care of material movement between the vertical factory, one, and secondly, where are you keeping the most bulky department, with the light, and where the material is being stored at the lightest department. And that plays a major role deciding which department goes on which floor, and how do we cater to that, right? And this really needs a lot of experience, otherwise things can go wrong when you practically start the factory. What are the factors to be considered in the modern factory design? See, this is really important. Like uh, the factors which are impacting, and what is the importance of that factor. If you see, the most important nowadays, the second from the last is compliances and legal standards. That is the most important factor nowadays, that when you are designing a factory, you need to take care of that, right? That is the first most important thing, because if you don't have proper escape route, if you don't have proper compliances in place for people's safety and personal hygiene, and obviously the needs of HR, be it a locker room, be it toilets, be it canteen, you might be in a fix later on to kind of trying to fix that kind of a thing. And obviously number of people who can use that kind of a space, those also plays an important role. work Workflow optimization, again, that the top point. How do you optimize your material flow from one end to the other end of the factory through the complete process? That is the important. It's around almost 9 points for that. In terms of importance, energy efficiency. See, believe me, now energy is not cheap, right? And if I'm saying energy is not cheap, how do you best optimize your energy cost? What is, because you cannot reduce the cost uh, in terms of running a factory in machines, because machine motors are nowadays uh, uh, rated really high and good. But how do you reduce your daily cost? General lighting, the ventilation system, the uh, uh, your daylighting, if you can utilize that. Whether should I put a forced ventilation system or natural ventilation is fine. All those kind of a things, elements has to be thought through depending on the region where the factory is being located, what kind of a temperatures happen on a peak ventilated, right? And also it leads to energy cost also. Maybe your cooling is good, but your cost of running that equipment is really high. So we have solutions which are cost effective for the factories. Then we talk about worker safety, ergonomics, like how your workstation should be designed in such a way that the people, if they are standing and working over there, they should feel comfortable for good 3 to 4 hours before they take a next break, right? Then comes the automation and technology. Obviously, automation and technology is important element, and now it is catching up because the cost of getting a person and retaining a person is quite high. How do I automate my process? Small steps in place. Both play equally good. It depends what kind of a customers and what kind of a product that you need to make, and what is the consistency in getting those kind of order will give you the answer of what level of automation is actually needed. Next one is material handling and logistics, which is really important. Gone are the days when people are lifting material on their shoulder or lifting the cartons and then giving it to the next person. But now there are equipments, there are ways to handle the equipment that can be easily managed without people lifting it physically. It can be designed in such a way that minimal human intervention is there. Sustainability and waste management, because when we talk about garment factory, you have first biggest waste is the leftover wastage of the fabric after cutting, and that is the biggest waste. How do you minimize that? Do you have the right softwares and the tools to minimize that? Once, if you minimize also, then also you have 5-7% cutting waste left. What do you do of that? How do you handle that? And can you can you make something out of it to get a brownie point from your customers, and obviously able to answer the environment in the right way. We actually help you in understanding and doing that, and then implementing that as well. Quality control and inspection. Obviously, quality is important when you're talking about not just domestic customers but international customers. You need to be on top of your quality, and you should be able to ensure that the each and every product is as per the quality which is required by the customer. Scalability and future expansion, again, it is important one. And inventory storage and management, like we have mentioned that warehouse and inventory storage plays a major role. A lot of people doesn't take like a lot of people skip that kind of a requirement when they are designing factories, because at the end of the day, if you don't have storage space in a right places, then you might not be able to function in a right efficient way. Next one, we talk about the optimized workflow, right? It is important what you need to identify which are the sections and departments which needs to be there. One, how do I optimize my workflow or a material flow within the factory? And that is important because the having the right space for the department one, and allowing that department to be at the right place is also important, so that the input and the output of that department can be connected easily to the previous stage and the next stage. The workflow is important. And then space maximization. There are ways to handle the material also on the production floor, which earlier used to be on a table or a ground, but now there are systems which can take all your WIP in the air, so that your ground space is empty. This is one of the factories that we've designed almost like 20 years from now, and still this factory is one of the modern factory after 20 years, I can tell you that. So space maximization plays a major role. If you see the photograph on the left, one talks about the day lighting. See, this is the warehouse where the fabric rolls are stored, and you can see a small day lighting will help you not to have uh, lights which are tube lights which are needed during the day. In the night, yes, you would need a general lighting, but during the day you can avoid those kind of a thing by the right design of a factory. Then we talk about you design your rooftop in such a way that your factory rooftop can take the solar panels on the top, because that in India there is enough of lighting, sunlight, and it is easy to get around good 15-16% of the returns on the megawatt, maybe whatever wattage you are investing on solar, you get 15-16% of the power out of that, and that really helps to reduce your power cost of the factory, right? uh, and obviously other energy efficiency related to motors and all that, that you can really see from your suppliers of the equipment, that are they using the right standard motors which are energy efficient. Next one is your factory automation readiness capable or not? Like what happens, like there are it depends on what kind of a product you want to make and what is the quantity that you're producing. You can decide between fully automatic to semi-automatic processes, and that purely depends on, if you have a fully automated operation or a machine, it would need consistency of same kind of a order throughout the year, because these fully automated machine can handle to an extent some variation, but beyond certain level variations are not uh, possible, then you might have to turn them into manual working. A lot of times we talk about semi-automatic ways. We did a separate webinar on that, where we discussed about what can be automated and what not can be automated. You can refer to that, but in the interest of time, we will talk about how to set up our factories which are modern. Now, next one, the picture in the middle, if you can see, the people are working on the ground, but the entire WIP is on the top through the hanger system that we have used. And this is not, this is like a major, this, when we set up this factory, before that there was no space, or we could not see people working, because there were heaps of material on the ground. And later on, when we decided, okay, let's take the material on the top, we took entire WIP on the top, and that's how the factory looked clean, neat, and very, very well managed factory. That's how this was designed specifically for the kind of product that we needed to do for the factory. And then material handling. Now, if you see this forklift or MHE, material handling equipment, is automated, and it is easy to do that. It is available nowadays. You don't need people to retrieve a pallet from the one rack of the warehouse and deliver it to the another place. There are systems which are available, and we when we design the factory, we consider all those kind of things, and we do the cost value analysis of that, and accordingly suggest the right investment which is needed by the factory. But it is important that these are the futuristic thing, and these have been adapted by many people. I would recommend that you start considering those kind of things in the factory, automated material handling equipments. Safety and compliances, like your fire door, your material equipment, when you are cutting the, you need to have gloves, safety equipments. There are laundry list of items which are needed for safety and compliances. I'm just showing you two, three, but there, when you're designing a factory, all these things needs to be considered, be it passages, be it emergency exit, be it staircases, handrails, any kind of safety, uh, uh, ventilation. All those things play an important role in safety and compliances of the factory. And there are rules and regulations which needs to be considered when we are designing the factory, and this is important thing. Next one, everybody talks about, is the Internet of Things. Factory for especially when we are talking about mid to large size factory, even the small factory where 100, 200 people are working, it is difficult to produce, who's not been that efficient when they are producing it. And each and every minute is a cost of the factory. Now, when we work with the factory, we also consider that whether we need to put the right IoT system or not, if it is needed, depending on the size of the factory, the output, and all those things. And also, there are various ways we can actually design the IoT integration in the factory. It can be, again, a low cost one to the mid cost level, where the real time information is captured from each and every workstation and presented on the dashboard or on the factory display seamlessly. And this is important because if you are here or in US or any other country, you can still see it on from your mobile, what is the status of my orders, or what is happening in the factory in terms of numbers. And this kind of a system is now in place in many factories, and many of the factories are slowly adapting to that. Next one is basically integration of cobots and robots. Like, there are certain operations which can be automated. I'm not saying everything where robots can be implemented, because flexibility is also needed in the garment factories. But there are operations where I would say packaging is there, and handling is there. You can easily do carton packing, or number of pieces, or number of pieces, units put into the carton, and sealing of the cartons in an automated way. These are possible. You can do the counting on a conveyor. You can check the uh, you can inspect the pack piece with the right inlay and barcode labels, whether it is properly done or not. If there is some mistake in that, then the conveyor can throw it out to the rejection level. So those kind of automations are there. People are slowly adapting it, and it is important that because we screen in each and every area where we can automate it and try to automate it one by one. I would not suggest do it in one shot, but one process at a time. Start automating, because it is not easy to get the right trained people. It is not easy to get the right consistency from the same person. But people tend to get fatigued and they might make mistakes, and that is why these automated robots or some kind of a vision cameras and all those kind of a things are helping to establish these kind of a things in the factory. And this has been adapted, I can tell you that this has been adapted in apparel and home textile also. 1 minute. Next, smart warehousing. See, I touched on this point because it depends on the kind of business you have. A lot of people work on domestic market where dropship is needed. So you might need to retrieve one piece or one item from the carton from the warehouse. Nowadays, there is a lot of automation which has come in that space, where you are able to get the right carton to the picking point, and through obviously automation which is there. That's one side of it. Second is, how do you retrieve a material or a pallet from a particular rack? That automation is also there. There are different kinds of warehouses, but these kind of automation at a minimalistic level is also there. You can it depends on what product you are talking about, what is the storage throughput that you need to calculate what is the right ROI for investing in such equipments. Whether humanly it is possible, if the throughput is quite high, then you might need to go for certain automation. But I think you should start moving in this direction because this is important. And we have a good tie-up with the people who understand this kind of equipment requirement. I'm talking about suppliers who knows what kind of automation is needed for what kind of a product and processes. When we are designing warehouses, we take their help and then integrate those systems in the factories as well. Now, you can see, so there are different ways of handling a material in a garment or a home textile factory. You can see this. These are the bigger rolls which are manually stacked on the vertical storage. So gone are the days when people used to store the fabric roll on the ground, right? Now people are talking about vertical storage of fabric rolls also, and and how high you can go up to 6, 7, 8 meter, 10 meter also. When you're talking about fabric roll storage, you would need some kind of a sophisticated equipment which can actually go to that level and see which roll to be picked up or which pallet to be picked up. The next one is basically talking about the next picture is talking about the cobots moving from one end of the factory to the other, taking the material in the process from one place to the other. And these are working on either on the map or on the like magnetic strips, such it can follow the particular route within the factory, right? Third one, if you see, these are vertical storage for smaller packaging trims which needs to be stored, and it automatically delivers the particular rack at the picking point, such that you can store smaller items on the vertical rack and still get the smaller material as needed as per your requirement at the picking point over here. And then fourth image is related to ASRS, which is basically, you might have seen some warehouse which is 30 meter high, 40 meter high. This is the equipment, this is the kind of warehouse that works under within that shed, because it's a high output, manless warehouse wherein only the operator is needed. Rest of the things are managed by the computer and the equipment themselves, right? And there are various possibilities in this, which can be designed as per the product and can be done. If the warehouse has a lot of new things coming in, it is important you integrate those kind of new things into your planning or designing of the factory, because this once the warehouse and storage is planned really well, it really helps you to retrieve your material on quickly, and also ensure that you are not saying that I am still looking for a material which went missing 3 days back. I'm not able to trace that. Those can be eliminated only by adapting the technology in the warehouse. We can help you in doing that as well. Cutting. Now, cutting has evolved quite a bit. There has been uh, uh, areas where manual spreading used to be there, but now there are equipments and machines which are talking about panel cutting. They are spreaders. We are also talking about spreaders and laser cutter as a complete CAD/CAM system along with the machine, so that your cutting process is automated to the extent. What you can do now is you can actually integrate your cutting process with the fabric checking and inspection process, where your defects are identified and machines can stop at the particular point where the defect is there, and you can remove that part. That those kind of technologies have come, and it is being tested, it is being run in some factories, and we've seen a very positive results of that. So it is important, like, start moving in that direction, because cutting is the major element as far as cost is concerned, and even a 0.5% saving in your cut fabric will save a lot. And there are ways that we optimize it. That's a separate thing, but it's important that right selection of our equipment, and which can cut the fabric in a right precision without giving you more wastage in that. So cutting is about that. Why should you choose Medaski Consulting as your partner to design the new factory that you're planning to do? Now, it is important. You need to understand that we are expert in automation and digitalization. We are not just only into project consulting. We are also into digitalization, productivity, efficiency, material handling, supply chain, and marketing and sales. So we cover the entire gamut of the home textile and garment industry, and we know why you need what level of automation and digitalization, and that's why we are able to integrate all those experience into the designing of the modern factory. Second is the cost effective solution. See, anybody can give you any solution, but is it a right cost effective solution for the kind of factory the customer is looking for? That is where your experience of establishing multiple factories comes, wherein each new factory that you're making is the most modern factory that you have made, and most updated in the best possible cost available. And obviously the scalable solution. We talk about sustainability, we talk about global compliances, because our focus has always been, when we are designing a factory, you cannot let go those kind of a thing, because that is the first priority for us. Because we should not create a factory which is uh, non-compliant. We should not create a factory which is uh, having any issues with any of the customer, be it Japan, be it USA, or be any customer anywhere, right? And obviously we have a proven track record of manufacturing, setting up factories, more than 50 factories that we have done. I have a small video to play for you. So I will ask my team member to play that for you, and then we will continue from there. if you're looking for expansion in greenfield or brownfield projects, especially in apparel, garments, home textile, and footwear segment, we are one point of contact for all the solutions related to the project that you want to do. We have experience of more than 40 projects, and every year we do around 6 to 8 projects. We have made facilities which are mid to large size facilities for products like comforters, quilts, shoes, garments, tops, as well as bedsheet factories. These factories are the modern facilities which are compliant from the international standpoint. Any buyer, be it the Walmart, Target, Costco, or IKEA, these factories are compliant for those things. We help you from scratch to make these factories. We help in designing the layout of the factory to final execution and implementation of these factories. We handhold you in each and every details, be it manpower, machine, technology, automation, and even designing the warehouses space so that your raw material and finished goods are aligned to your day-to-day working. So reach out to us for any of such requirement that you have for projects which are related to greenfield, brownfield projects in home textile, apparel, garments, and footwear industry. So, so we've been there for such a long time. So I would like to share some of the successful projects that we have done in the past, and this will give you a lot of idea on what is going on. And there might be some factory which we have set up 15, 20 years back, and there are some factories which we are set up last 2 years back, and there are factories which we are still doing at the moment. So if you can see, I think we 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 are able to do RCC structure to PEB structure depending on the need and the requirement. Uh, you can also we also done projects which was made, the factory building was made for something else, and we converted that into something uh, related to garments. Uh, on the top, you can see this is the hostel facility which was created for one of the client, which could accommodate around 2,000 people. You can see one of the factory with modern material handling system on the top and spacious floor, production floor on the ground. This is the factory we've set up around 2 to 3 years back, and it's one of the unique factory and one of the most modern factory that we have set up. The other side factory, you can see it's a PEB structure with the garment manufacturing facility, and people, you can see there are manual working, completely manual working. So be it a automated material handling equipment or unit production system to a manual working, we know what works best for you in the budget that you allocate to us. You can see from compliance angle, we are able to have factories which has proper passages, uh, uh, not just passages, the exit and entry points are very well lit, and no compromise on that side. So we know how to do that. And this is a like a fabric inspection area in a large factory. Again, this photo we have shared earlier also, and the next one is the process house that we have done a couple of years back. Material handling equipments, you can see different type of storage in different. So you have carton storage, design is different, roll storage is different, and the other packaging material is different. So there is different storage or a racking system for a different product need, and that needs to be calculated and designed accordingly. It is important you are able to use the vertical space of the factory, because ground storage is possible, it is expensive, and it is expensive because you are not able to store enough in the given space or per square meter of space versus vertically what you can do for, right? Again, this is one of the latest factory that we have set up. uh, I think if you see, these factories are modern factories with different types of storage, spaces available, open spaces, digitalization, modern facility, uh, material handling, uh, and also taking care of customer demand in terms of uh, like which region are you catering to, what customer would need in terms of compliances, in terms of equipment, and obviously product matters a lot, what product you want to produce, and accordingly suggesting the right technology for that. That is something which is unique with us. And we are team of people who are passionate about what we are doing. And we obviously, when we are designing any new factory, we try to make it the best, one of the best factory that we have ever made. And until we do the next factory, that is the best factory. So the, we've been successful in that, and we helped many companies to do that. So I think this is it from my side. And if you have any questions, you can put it in the chat box. We are happy to help you. You can reach out to me, or you can message me, or you can put a comment on this. We will reach out to you for any kind of a need that you have. All right. Thank you so much for your time. I'm able to complete it in one hour's time. That's I'm able to show what our capability is all about and how we can help you in designing the most modern factory and the factories of future, the factory which are technology wise advanced, which are modern to handle the different materials, and also balance between the manual and automation. We are one point of contact for each and every design element, technology element in the factory that we can do for you. Thank you so much for your time, and looking forward to talking to you soon. Thank you.